The Comfort Book by Matt Haig. Picture yourself at 12 years old again. You're on a family vacation in France, deep in one of those forests, where the trees stretch so impossibly high they seem to gobble up the entire sky. You've been jogging alongside your dad when suddenly he stops. There's an edge to his voice you've never heard before, controlled, but unmistakably panicked. Oh, it seems that we're lost. What follows feels endless. You walk and walk, passing the same trees over and over until they start to feel like they're mocking you. The sun begins its slow descent, shadows lengthen, and the forest grows darker by the minute. Your mind flashes to a story from school, about people who vanished in the wilderness and were never found. Your heartbeat thunders in your ears. Then your dad stops, looks you straight in the eye, and says something beautifully simple, something that will echo through your entire life. If we keep going in a straight line, we'll get out of here. 1 foot in front of the other. No more circles, just forward. And he was absolutely right. Eventually they stumbled onto a road, miles from where they'd started, but they were out. They were safe. That's Matt Haig's story, and in so many ways, that forest represents his life. And maybe yours too. We all get lost sometimes. We all find ourselves surrounded by darkness and fear, with no obvious way forward. So what do you do when that happens? That's the beating heart of his remarkable book, The Comfort Book. This isn't your typical self-help manual promising happiness in 10 easy steps. It's something far more rare and honest. Think of it as a collection of life rafts, notes, stories, lists, and hard-won lessons gathered in the darkest times, designed to keep your head above water when you feel like you're drowning. Since it came out, it's become a quiet companion to millions, sitting on bedside tables around the world, reminding people that it's perfectly okay to not be okay. Here's what I promise you. By the time we're done here, you won't just know what's in this book. You'll have discovered a whole new lens for looking at your struggles. You'll understand that your lowest moments can become the foundation of your greatest strength, and you'll walk away with something precious, not the loud, cheerful kind of hope, but the small, stubborn kind, the kind that refuses to quit, the kind that knows, no matter how dense the forest gets, if you just keep putting 1 foot in front of the other, you'll find your way out. We're constantly told that life is a ladder we need to climb, the career ladder, the property ladder. We're supposed to keep reaching for the next rung, eyes always fixed on what we haven't achieved yet. But Matt Haig suggests we think about this differently. What if life isn't a ladder at all? The problem with ladders, he points out, is they leave you no room to move around. You can only go up or down, and there's plenty of room to fall. This relentless pressure to climb is where so much of our anxiety lives. We look in the mirror and catalog everything we're not. Not smart enough, not successful enough, not popular enough, not enough, period. But Haig asks us to try something. Imagine yourself as a baby. That tiny, helpless little person. You'd look at that baby and know, deep in your bones, that they were complete. They lacked nothing. Their value didn't depend on future achievements or appearance. Their value was infinite, simply because they existed. Here's the secret. That value never leaves you. It gets buried under layers of self-doubt and pressure, sure, but it's still there. You are still exactly as human and exactly as worthy of love as the day you were born. You are the goal. Love isn't something you earn by reaching the top of the ladder. It's your birthright. The most radical thing you can do is accept yourself exactly as you are, right now. It's okay to be broken. It's okay to be messy. It's okay to be the teacup with a chip in it. That's the one with a story. This idea forms the foundation of everything in the Comfort Book. It's a return to a fundamental truth. Your worth isn't conditional. But knowing this and feeling it are two completely different things, especially when you're in the valley. When you're at your lowest, it's so easy to believe the lies depression whispers. When Haig was 24, he was so deep in that valley he was convinced he wouldn't make it to his 25th birthday. The mental pain felt physical, permanent, inescapable. But there's one thing depression can never account for: Time, Haig says, disproves the lies. Time shows us that feelings are like weather. A storm can feel all-consuming, like it will swallow the world forever. But it doesn't. The clouds always move. You are not the storm. You're the sky. You're the vast, open space that contains the weather, but you're not defined by it. This is where ancient wisdom comes in. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, and one of the most powerful men who ever lived, wrote that if something external distresses us, the pain doesn't come from the thing itself, but from our own estimate of it. And that's something we have the power to change. Now, I know that can sound a bit too simple. You can't just snap your fingers and make grief or anxiety vanish. When you're lost in the forest, the fear is very real. But Haig isn't suggesting we deny our feelings. He's reminding us that our perspective shapes our world. The external circumstances don't have to change for our perspective to shift. Hamlet put it perfectly. There is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. Our minds might create prisons, but they also hold the keys. And the master key, the one that unlocks everything, is hope. But what is hope really? It's not about pretending everything is perfect. It's not happiness. Haig describes it beautifully. Hope, in its simplest form, is the acceptance of possibility. It's accepting that we can't know the future, and understanding that some versions of that future might be better than the present. He tells the story of Somewhere Over the Rainbow. It's one of the most hopeful songs ever written. Yet it was created in 1939, one of the darkest years in human history, as the world stood on the brink of war. The writers, Harold Arlen and Yip Harburg, knew suffering intimately. They were two Jewish musicians watching anti-Semitism spread across Europe. Yet out of that darkness, they created a song about a place beyond the storm. In the word somewhere, the melody leaps up a full octave, a literal musical rainbow. That, Haig says, is what hope feels like. A soaring, a reaching. It's having your feet planted firmly in the present, in the black and white of Kansas, while your mind can hear the music of Oz. This is why, during his deepest depression, Haig started making lists. Not to-do lists, but lists of things that offered comfort. Songs that felt like a friend's hand on his shoulder. Books that made him feel less alone. Films that reminded him goodness still existed in the world. These were his life rafts. And he shares them with us not as prescriptions, but as invitations. He lists songs from the Beatles and Frank Ocean, films from It's a Wonderful Life to The Sound of Music. But comfort isn't just found in grand works of art. It's often hiding in the smallest, most overlooked corners of our lives. This is a theme that runs throughout the book, the profound power of ordinary things. He writes about toast. Yes, toast. He says that constantly searching for the meaning of life is like looking for the meaning of toast. Sometimes it's better to just eat the toast. Or a pear. Or peanut butter. He even includes a recipe for hummus, and one for peanut butter on toast. These aren't just recipes, they're meditations. They're rituals of attentiveness. In a world that's always rushing forward, the simple act of preparing and enjoying food can be a powerful anchor to the present moment. To spread peanut butter on toast with the slow integrity of a religious ritual is to tell yourself that this moment, right here, matters. You are alive, and you're about to eat peanut butter on toast, and that's actually wondrous. These small, tangible comforts are the building blocks of resilience. They're what get you through the bad days. When you hit rock bottom, Haig says, remember the rock part. You discover the solid bit of you that can't be broken down any further, your foundation, and from there you can start building again. But we don't have to do it alone. In fact, we can't. One of the most powerful threads running through the Comfort book is the idea of connection. He tells us about the hardiest plant in the world, the purple saxifrage. It has delicate-looking flowers that seem like they'd blow away in the slightest breeze, yet it thrives in the brutal conditions of the Arctic. How? by clustering together, low to the ground, offering each other shelter. Nature is full of these examples. The gold-saddle goatfish, a small, vulnerable fish in Hawaii, has learned a remarkable survival trick. When a predator threatens, a group of them swim together in perfect formation, creating the illusion of a single, much larger fish, scaring the predator away. We're just like them. We shed our vulnerability when we join together. As Haig puts it, the reason to be selfless is selfish. Nothing makes ourselves feel better than not thinking of ourselves. This connection extends through time as well. He encourages us to find strength in the stories of those who came before us, people who faced unimaginable hardship and not only survived, but thrived. He tells the story of Julianne Kopsky. In 1971, this 17-year-old was on a plane over Peru when lightning struck. She fell 2 miles through the sky, still strapped to her seat, the sole survivor among 92 people. She landed in the dense Amazon rainforest with a broken collarbone and deep cuts. She was alone, in shock, surrounded by what many would call a, quote, green hell. But Julianne's parents were zoologists who had worked in the Amazon. She had knowledge. She knew which plants were poisonous. She knew snakes often disguised themselves as leaves. And most importantly, her father had once told her that if you follow the flow of water, you'll eventually find civilization. For 11 days, she battled infections, hunger, and fear, following a creek downstream. That knowledge, that single piece of advice from her father, saved her life. Local fishermen eventually found her and got her to safety. Her story is a testament to the power of knowledge and determination. When we find ourselves lost in the jungles of our own lives, we too can learn the territory. We can arm ourselves with self-awareness and face our fears, not with ignorance, but with understanding. Another incredible story is that of Nellie Bly, a pioneering journalist in the late 1800s. At a time when women were actively discouraged from the profession, she was determined to make her mark. For one of her first major assignments, she agreed to go undercover in a notorious women's asylum. She faked insanity to get herself committed and spent 10 days witnessing horrific conditions, cruelty, neglect, women being treated as less than human. Her explosive article, 10 Days in a Madhouse, shocked the public and led to major reforms. Nellie Bly refused to be confined by the expectations of her time. She showed, as she herself put it, that energy rightly applied and directed will accomplish anything. These stories aren't just history lessons. They're proof of the resilience of the human spirit. They remind us we're part of a long chain of survivors. When we feel weak, we can borrow their strength. But perhaps the most profound connection Haig explores is the one we have with ourselves. A huge part of that is learning the power of the word no. In an age of constant overload, where we're pulled in 1,000 directions, no is a sacred word. No, I don't want to go to that party. No, I don't need to apologize for being myself. Saying no to things that drain us is saying yes to ourselves. It's yes to having the space we need to live. This is part of what he calls being you. Not a better version of you, not an upgraded you, but just you. If you aim to be something you are not, he writes, you will always fail. Aim to be you. He uses a wonderful analogy. Not every fruit has to be an apple. If you're a pomegranate, be a pomegranate. Sure, more people might prefer apples, but for those who love pomegranates, they're the best thing in the world. Don't waste your one precious life trying to be an apple when you were born to be a pomegranate. This journey inward also requires confronting the things we'd rather ignore, our pain, our fears, our flaws. He tells a deeply personal story about being 16 on New Year's Eve. He'd been drinking and got too close to a bonfire, and his jeans caught fire. He patted it out, but he had a severe burn on his leg. Out of deep teenage self-consciousness, he told everyone he was fine. But through the night, the pain was unbearable. He ended up walking 6 miles home in the dark, limping and delirious. When he finally got there, his sister saw the wound and rushed him to the hospital. The specialist told him something that stuck. You must never wait in pain. It doesn't go away by pretending it isn't there. Years later, when he was suicidal, he remembered that lesson. Mental pain, just like physical pain, needs to be seen. It needs to be acknowledged. We can't climb a mountain we pretend isn't there. This leads to one of the book's most challenging, yet comforting ideas: acceptance. Particularly, accepting the dark parts of ourselves and our lives. He talks about the caterpillar. Inside its dark cocoon, it doesn't just rest. It dissolves. It falls apart completely, becoming a kind of liquid mush. Only then is it reborn as a butterfly. We often think of the cocoon as cozy and safe, but for the caterpillar, it must be terrifying, a total disintegration of everything it's ever known. This, Haig says, is a perfect metaphor for our own lives. The greatest changes often come from our darkest experiences. We fall apart to become new. We go through the dark to fly in the sun. This means we have to stop fighting our feelings. You don't stop the rain by shouting at it. Sometimes you just have to let it pour. You have to accept that you'll get wet. But you are not the rain, you're the one experiencing it. And it never rains forever. Ultimately, the Comfort Book is a guide to a different kind of strength. Not the strength of being unbreakable, but the strength of being able to bend. The wisdom to know that resting isn't laziness. It's essential. The courage to be imperfect in a world that demands perfection. And the profound comfort that comes from embracing uncertainty. We're so often anxious because the future is unknown. We want guarantees. We want to know everything will be okay. But life doesn't offer contracts. The future will always be uncertain. But Haig flips this idea on its head. Uncertainty, he argues, isn't a curse. It's a source of hope. Because if the future is uncertain, it means nothing is set in stone. The things we dread might not be as bad as we imagine. And even if they are, the outcome of those events is also uncertain. How many times have we heard of blessings in disguise? Of painful moments that led to unexpected growth and wisdom? We exist on a spinning coin, he says. We can't predict how it will land, but we can enjoy the shine as it spins. In a universe where everything is open, nothing is truly closed. There's always another door, another handle waiting to be turned. The book ends not with a grand resolution, but with a gentle continuation. Nothing truly ends, it just changes. Sadness becomes joy. Wounds become scars. Pain becomes strength. We're not static beings. We're processes. We're motion. And in being part of that eternal change, we too are eternal. We're here, in this moving moment. And that's a messy, beautiful, and comforting miracle. As we come to the end of our journey through the Comfort Book, I want to take a moment to reflect on why this book feels so essential, especially right now. We live in a world that screams at us from every screen, telling us to hustle harder, optimize our lives, and biohack our way to happiness. It's a culture of relentless self-improvement that's ironically rooted in a deep sense of self-loathing. The underlying message is always, you're not enough as you are. Matt Haig's work is a quiet, powerful rebellion against that noise. It doesn't offer a magic pill or a 5-step formula. Instead, it offers something far more profound: permission. Permission to be human. Permission to be messy, to feel pain, to rest without guilt, and to find beauty in the cracked and imperfect parts of ourselves and our lives. The most powerful lesson for me is the idea of finding comfort not by escaping reality, but by sinking more deeply into it. By accepting the whole spectrum of human experience, the joy and the woe, the hope and the despair. Haig reminds us, these aren't opposites to be kept apart, but two sides of the same coin. As he so bravely shares, his love of life stems directly from having known the depths of despair. You can't fully appreciate the light until you've known the dark. This isn't just a book of comforting words. It's a manual for a more compassionate way of living, So how can you start applying this wisdom today, right now? Here are 3 simple, practical actions inspired by the book. First, find your peanut butter on toast. What's one small, simple act that can ground you in the present moment? Maybe it's sipping a cup of tea, listening to a favorite song, or just feeling the sun on your face for 5 minutes. Whatever it is, do it today. But do it with your full attention. Don't scroll on your phone or think about your to-do list. Just be there, in that moment, and appreciate it for the small miracle it is. Second, start your own bag of moments. Haig suggests we collect happy moments to carry with us. So tonight, before you go to sleep, write down one good thing that happened today. It could be anything: a laugh with a friend, a beautiful sunset, a delicious meal. It doesn't have to be monumental, just one small thing. Over time, you'll build a treasure trove of reminders that life, even on the hard days, is full of goodness. And third, practice the art of saying no. Look at your schedule or your commitments for the coming week. Find one thing you've said yes to that you don't truly want to do, something that drains you rather than fills you up, and then, politely and without apology, say no. Reclaim that time and energy for yourself. Remember, saying no to others is often saying yes to your own well-being. The Comfort Book is more than just a collection of essays and lists. It's a friend. It's a quiet voice in the dark that says, I know it's hard right now, but you're not alone, and this won't last forever. It's a reminder that the best thing about rock bottom is the rock part. It's a solid foundation on which you can start to build again. That was a summary of The Comfort Book by Matt Haig. We've touched on some of the core ideas today, but I'll be completely honest with you. A summary is like looking at a photograph of a beautiful landscape. It can show you the view, but it can't make you feel the warmth of the sun or the gentle breeze. The real magic of this book is in the reading. It's in the quiet moments, when one of Haig's simple, honest sentences lands in your heart in a way you didn't expect. This summary is your map to help you decide if this is a journey you want to take. If anything we've talked about today has struck a chord with you, I wholeheartedly encourage you to pick up a copy. Reading it isn't just an act of learning, it's an act of kindness to yourself, one that can genuinely change the way you navigate your own life. You'll find a link to the book in the description below. Also, if you found this summary valuable and it brought a little bit of comfort to your day, please take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. That way, you won't miss our next deep dive into another life-changing book from the billionaire's bookshelf. Let's keep learning and growing together.